What's going on, everyone? We are Tottenham TV here, and it's another home defeat for Tottenham this season. Another disappointing performance. More Spurs fans going home unhappy today. And it's another disappointing, attacking display, you have to say. The game was well and truly lost in our first half, which another atrocious kind of opening 45 from Tottenham. Could have easily been, we were 2-0 down, we could have easily been 3 or 4 if it wasn't for Van der Ven heroics. He has saved us with a sliding challenge when it was set to be an open goal for Chukwueze. Vicario's terrible error had multiple opportunities to clear his lines, ended up giving it straight to Fulham when he's charging out of his area. Any goalkeeper worth his salt usually put out for a throw in that situation. It's a common, it's standard goalkeeping. Running out your area, far from goal, you put out for a throw, safety first. He decided to try and play his way out of trouble, ended up conceding in an open goal. The first goal, a bit unlucky, deflection from outside the box, but you can see there was a lack of intensity in that moment. We're just not getting close to the Fulham players, and in that first half, we really struggled to create any sort of opening. We really didn't test Fulham in that first half. Fulham found it so easy, restricted us, I think, to 2 long-range efforts in that first half. All we did was resort to kind of lumping it into the box, throwing crosses in, and Fulham dealt with it easily. We weren't able to play through them. We played the same formation as we did on Wednesday, and I was kind of happy about that, but it completely failed today. It's fair to say, completely failed, that formation. We weren't able to play through Fulham. We weren't able to play down the middle like we were maybe on Wednesday a bit more. I wanted to see Xavi involved today, but he only came on 55 minutes, where obviously he was desperately needed, but we're already 2-0 down at that point. The first half, anyway, going back to it, was atrocious. Spurs players were booed off at half-time, rightfully so. Again, a lack of chance creation. I think we had a 0.07 XG or something like that in the first half. Seriously lacking when it comes to getting near the Fulham goal. Second half was a bit better. I have to give Spurs a bit of credit. Although I would say no changes at half-time was a massive mystery to me. How he saw that first half and didn't immediately either change the formation or bring on a couple of players to freshen things up and change the approach was a massive mystery. He didn't. He waited till the 55th minute, I believe, to make a triple substitution. Paulinho, Richarlison, Gray all hooked. On come Odegaard, Xavi, I can't remember who the other one, Bentancur. And things did improve. All of a sudden we were starting to get some chances. To be fair, we scored just before the substitution, so there was a bit of momentum building just before we did make the subs. Kudus with the goal, absolutely nothing. It's a brilliant finish on the half volley into the near post. So, we had a chance just before that as well. Moani header from a Porro cross, but in a weird way we made the changes and it kind of fell flat. It added a bit of energy for the first 5-10 minutes after the changes. It looked like, okay, momentum is with us, maybe we're going to go on to get something from this game. But it kind of fizzled out quite quickly. Fulham made some changes. Marco Silva, credit to him, he made some tactical changes after we did to counteract what we were trying to do, and it seemed to work because we didn't really challenge them or we didn't really ask too many questions of them after that moment, after they made their changes, and they kind of dealt with us pretty simply. It was quite disappointing at the end of the day, and we kind of limply, it wasn't like it was, throwing the kitchen sink at Fulham, the keeper making saves or having shots. There was none of that. All it was really meekly going to defeat, and that's happened a few times now this season. Just a meek ending to the game, meekly going to defeat, and that kind of sums us up so far at home especially. And there are going to be big questions asked of Thomas Frank after this game. We had the North London derby a week ago. Atrocious, horrific. That was absolutely diabolical. A mini reaction, albeit still losing on Wednesday, conceding 5 goals to PSG. I don't know if you can say that was a reaction. As much as it was an improvement, we still lost and we still conceded 5 goals. We now have the following game, it was a massive game tonight for Thomas Frank to show Tottenham where this team is heading, get a good performance out of the team, and try and show that he's got more strings to his bow. We're not just a team that relies on corners, not just a team sitting back, and we can create chances. And we came up against a Fulham team who have been, by the way, dreadful this season, haven't won an away game this season, and we didn't show up, and we were atrocious. And all the questions are still left to be answered for Thomas Frank, unfortunately. Haven't really gotten going this season, especially at home. And there's going to be a lot of people unhappy with him. There's going to be a lot of people calling for his head. There's going to be a lot of people saying he's not good enough for the Tottenham job. And the evidence at the moment is hard to argue against that. We have been so bad, especially in recent weeks. I think it's now 2 wins in 13 for us in recent form after today. And we seem to be getting worse. We seem to be sinking at the moment. We're now getting dominated at home against teams like Fulham, who this season were, I think, going to 15th. And as I said, hadn't won an away game the whole season. They had been weak this season, and yet they were able to bully us. And they were able to come here and take all 3 points. And that is unacceptable. That is unacceptable at the end of the day. Yes, he'll point to, Thomas Frank will point to individual errors, and maybe he'll point to, a better second half. But at the end of the day, it's nowhere near good enough for a club like Tottenham Hotspur with the resources we have, the players we have. If that's the best we can do, then we are got serious problems. We have serious problems. I don't know where Frank goes from here. He did change it, and he brought Odebear on the left. He put Tell on the left wing, and then brought Odebear on to go left back. And look, I'll give him credit. He went for it, and he went for attacking subs in the latter half of the game. Obviously, we are losing, so it's not a surprise. But it's not like he didn't try to change things on the touchline and go more offensive. But at the end of the day, we didn't create any sort of real clear-cut chances. We had a few moments. I think Bergvall had a header clean off the line from a corner. Moani had a back heel. It's just too few and far between. No clear-cut opportunities. Never really threatened to open them up. Too heavily relied on crossing on that out wide. Just way too heavily relying on getting the ball to Porro or Kudus and crossing it in. That seems our main method of attack. And it's just not working. It's not good enough. We need more variation. We got the players to hurt the opposition in multiple facets of the game, and yet we're so reliant on one method of attack, and it's so easy to stop. I don't know where it leaves us in the table. I'll have to have a look, but this was a big moment for Frank, and I don't know if it's the final nail in the coffin, but it's one of them if he does end up going, that's for sure. I think he will get a bit more time, but we have Newcastle away on Wednesday. Don't know if I see us winning that one. And then Brentford. How ironic if Brentford at home in our next home game might be his last for Tottenham. I don't know if we're at that point yet, but we're not far off with the way we're playing. If we keep playing this way, keep losing games in the manner that we're losing them, he's in big trouble, and he needs something drastic to turn it around. We thought maybe on Wednesday that big change of formation, that brave lineup, and the bit of a response he got from the team, albeit we lost, might have been the spark that lit the fire that maybe got the Thomas Frank flame going at Tottenham. But after tonight, I think it's hard to argue that. See you in the studio tomorrow to dissect another defeat. And the game's coming fast. Newcastle on Tuesday night. On this evidence, I'm not looking forward to that one. We'll see you soon. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.